Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Bayang mag-iliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit bumaba, may lagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isak ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nabibig, ang bituin na araw na kailan pa may magdidilig. Lupa ng araw ng balat ipasinta, buhay na higit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya na pagbay mga api, ang mamatay ng nais sa'yo.
Lord, let me be what you want me to be. Let me see all the gifts that you so lovingly blessed me with. Be with me when I'm alone and when it seems that nothing just works out for me. When I'm down, when I'm lost, give me strength, give me hope.
Makagagahom daw mahigugmaon, ugis ha magbabaya, iyan napunan ho anak. Iman haanlaw, ag umawon day imo ho kinasing-kasing, taigpauma day imo sa pagpasalamat day hulangon ha panginahanglanon. Igpauma day daan imo sa agpanayon day, sa maayad ha kaginhawa, maayad ha kaglawa, maayad ha kagtima. Yan day daan agpanayon ha ipadiyo kay hu mga madaot, kahanlok daw kaguod, ikahid o kaikaw. Dagidagi sa pagtuo, daw pagsalig day hu mga kamatuuran no, hasikaw gayud permanente taghari, taliwada o pagtalig-uma daw pagkuyanap, kusunod-sunod daw nagkalain-lain hamatang o panghitabo, kagubot, kalisdanan, daw padaot. Ipaaha, ipagudam, daw ipaambit ho mga utawno, doon ho banwa, nasod, daw tibuok kalibutan, sa gagaw, kahid-o, kalinaw, daw kaliguno. Taiyan man, timaan ng mga kahanggin na pasensya.
Lord, I offer my life to you. You can do what you want to do. Just come and fill my life, fill my darkness with your light.
وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, we come to you in our need to ask your protection against the COVID-19 that has disturbed and even claimed lives. Give us the grace in this trying time to work for the good of all and to help those in need. We implore you to stop the spread of this virus and to save us from all our fears. We pray that you guide the people, especially those tasked to find a cure for this disease, and for us who are entrusted to take care of our children in the schools and the classrooms. Though they cannot be allowed to go to the schools, we ask your protection and guidance, that we will still be able to deliver the learning that they need to have amidst this pandemic, believing that no one should be left behind in this our spiritual journey, for the good of our children and for the good of the country and for all the people in the world. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Lord, I know now what I want to do. I have found my strength when I came to you. You have sent me to help with my brothers and make them happy as you made me too. Lord, I know now what I want to do. I have found my strength when I came to you. You have sent me to help with my brothers and fill the darkness with your light. You have sent me to help with my brothers and fill the darkness with your light.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Maayong buntag sa tanan and happy first day of April to all of us. Wishing that the month of April has a lot of good things in store for us, starting with our session this morning. Welcome back to KaaGABAY, learning series on materials development. My name is Isabel Alano and I will be your host for our activity this morning. I am so happy to see you all virtually and I hope that you are excited for today's session. Before anything else, I would like to give first my respects to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry May Limbaco Reyes, our OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Lori B. Nacarasco, SGOD Chief, Dr. Rosalio Vitorillo, Public School District Supervisors, Education Program Supervisors, to our school heads, teachers, to the entire DepEd CDO Division, and to everyone who is watching with us right now. Hello and good morning to all of you. KaaGABAY is a series of learning sessions every Friday that started last March 11 until April 8, 2022. And today we are now on our fourth session. In each session, we talked about different topics on developing learning materials. So we hope that you will be able to learn a lot by the end of the series and be inspired to develop learning materials and share them with everyone here. Pero bago ta magpadayon, I am requesting everyone to like, comment, and share this live stream to our fellow teachers. And later on, you could also input questions that you may have for our speaker. Before we dive into our new topic for today, let us quickly look back first to our previous session last Friday with our speaker, Mr. Erwin Gantalao. In his session, we have learned what learning materials and instructional design are. He has walked us through his inspiring experience in co-creating the Makabasa reading workbooks that were not only used when he taught in Makabalan Elementary School, but but has even reached outside the four walls of the classroom. This just goes to show that learning is lifelong, and there could also be many forms of learners that we could help through the materials that we create. In creating and designing our materials, there should always be a careful consideration on how our students learn, and because of that, we should put the students at the center when we plan our instruction. Our learning materials can be used not only for this quarter, school year, or in this learning modality, but we can reuse and recycle them in different contexts for as many times as we can, as long as it stays relevant and sustainable. As we make these materials to respond to the needs of our learners, we provide them a learning experience that is most suited to them and that will increase their motivation and retention. So, again, if you missed that session last Friday, you could always look back and watch it again here in this Facebook page. All right, I think at this point we are ready to proceed to our next session. For our fourth learning session, our topic will be on the processes, strategies, and tools in creating video lessons. Video lessons can be used not only for this distance learning modality that we currently have, but also in supplementing instruction once we return to face learning. And even before the pandemic, we use a lot of videos to strengthen the learner's understanding of the lessons. This is what our speaker for today will be discussing, and I am very excited to introduce him to you. Our speaker is a graduate of Bachelor in Elementary Education from Capital University in 2010 and also graduated with a Master's in Education, major in Educational Administration in 2012 from the same university. He has earned a diploma in Computer Science Technology at the Asian College of Science and Technology in 1998 and a certificate in painting at the College of Fine Arts at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Quezon City in 1992. He worked as a teacher for 19 years in a private school before joining DepEd 5 years ago. Currently, he is stationed at South City Central School as a Teacher 1 in the Grade 5 level and is the school's ICT coordinator. He is an active practitioner of the visual arts and presently a member of the Cagayan de Oro City Oro Arts Guild. He is an active member of DepEd National Pool of Illustrators and the divisional DepEd TV Core Team. He is also a certified Adobe Creative Educator Level 1 and is currently involved in developing innovative learning tools utilizing open educational resources and development of multimedia learning materials as an illustrator, animator, and video editor for DepEd CTO LRMDS. Everyone help me welcome Mr. Ryan Z. Roa. Let us give him a resounding round of virtual applause, or you could also press the like or heart button as we welcome him on the screen. Hello, Sir Ryan. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Ma'am Isabel, and to DepEd Cagayan de Oro City. It's been a pleasure to be being here today, this morning. Thank you very much. Okay, so uh, before we proceed, permit me first to share my screen so we can start our discussion this morning. Okay, for a while. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to greet everyone. Good morning, especially to our uh, SDS, Jeremy L. Limbaco Reyes, to our OIC SD Division School Superintendent, OIC Assistant, Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Loribina Carrasco, to our SGOD Chief Rosalio, Dr. Rosalio Vitorillo, and our LRMDS in charge, or manager, Dr. Joel Potane, Ma'am Lani, Ma'am Gemma, and the rest of the supervisors, public school supervisors, and principals, teachers of the division of Cagayan de Oro City, DepEd Division Cagayan de Oro City. Okay, let's before anything else, no, let's have a uh, some things to discuss first before we proceed with our topic. Uh, so we are now in the learning session number 4, which talks about processes and strategies and tools in creating video lesson. And a while ago, Ma'am Isabella's gave us an idea on how important video lesson and how video lesson plays an important role, especially in the teaching and learning process, not only in the pandemic but uh, in 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 learning classroom, no, in the classroom settings. Video video lesson has been uh, a great learning material, no, for a supplemental material that will be able for teachers to use during their discussions. But uh, in creating a video lesson, the influence of these digital videos, no, in everyday life and cultures is undeniably growing, especially uh, with social media. No, we share our videos in social media, online video sharing sites like YouTube and other online video uh, sharing sites. No, we're in it is seen by millions of people, especially if it is already in the social media. Now students today are using educational videos as a tool for learning. So everything they do, uh, when they want to learn something, they just access the YouTube, you know, for reference. And also in the new normal, DepEd has already established a channel, no, a DepEd TV channel wherein video lessons are broadcast nationwide. Uh, so my task this morning is to run through the process and strategies, no, how to create video lesson. Now for me, when creating video lesson could be perhaps a feeling of bittersweet, no, a mixture of sadness and happiness. At first, you're going to experience some difficulties, pero at the end, when you are going to see your product, it gives you a feeling of satisfaction. So, um, let me run through the process of creating video lessons. So, I will be only focusing on the processes and how uh, DepEd is currently using some standards in creating video lessons. Okay, so here are some key factors or elements, the factors of and elements for developing learning resources for radio and video TV lessons. This is based on the standards of DepEd. Okay, so let me run through this. At first, we must consider first the intellectual property rights compliance. So our video, even if we'll just use uh, a video for our own consumption, but no making videos. If you are going to create video lessons, might as well follow some standards so that uh, uh, who knows, that video can be validated and will be broadcast in some ways, no. So these are the things that you should consider. So intellectual property rights, so it will comply to the copyright law. Another is learning competencies, so it should be based on the learning competencies of the different learners, no. Next is instructional design and presentations and organization. Now, this is very broad, medyo dako ni siyang scope, because it is talking about different standards in presentations. And uh, when you are going to evaluate, when DepEd is going to evaluate your video, they're going to look at this uh, structure. Like, for example, the content of the script. If the content of the script is suitable for the learner's level of development, and a lot of things they have to consider. So this is some of the things that DepEd is going to look for in validating your video lessons. Okay, so let's not focus on that, because our task now is on the processes. So let's just have, this is just a simple run through. And number 4, assessment. After creating your video lesson, it will be under different assessment tools. They are going to validate. They are going to create. They will be passed through some certain QAs, so quality assurance and assessments of the video, if it is suitable for broadcast. And last one is accuracy, timeliness of information. So it talks about the script, no? Well, they have to look at the script if it is free from conceptual errors, no, grammatical errors, typographical errors, because we are going to show your video, if it passes through all these uh, elements, and it will be fit for broadcasting. They make sure that our video is error free. So this is just some of the factors that we consider in developing our learning materials, especially in video. No? All right. So, this is just let's have a run through for this. No, of the factors. No? Like the your video will contain the following. The video lesson. DepEd is expecting to see this kind of structure in your video. No? So your creative repetition, your presentations. So it includes yung mga treatment nimo, yung pabunggahan ng treatment ng video. Okay, so this is when we talk about national level, yung mga DepEd TV na pwede na to makita, no, sa social media or even in television. Another is your video lesson also will contain exemplifications, assessment, or evaluation. So, ginapangita po na siya. So, when you say assessment, you have to consider some of the assessment skills na pwede nimo i-develop visually through video. So basically, what our video would contain in our video lesson, based on the standards of DepEd, at least na ay 3 minutes of creative repetition, review of the lesson at first, the start of the video, aside from the OBB, or the beginning billboard. After that, meron kang short greetings and introductions, yung mga yung teacher broadcaster will have its own way of greeting, and then your video also contains this following, no? Teaching flow, 3 minutes of creative repetitions. The teacher broadcaster will review the past lessons, uh, and then you have 12 minutes lecture and presentation. This is the new lesson that you're going to introduce. So it will be estimated that it will run about 12 minutes. All your lectures, your presentations will be done in this certain period of time. And then 5 minutes of each of this video will be for examples and exercises for the students to feel the interactivity of the video lessons. And then 3 to 5 minutes assessment and evaluation. So this is what your video lesson, you try to find ways wherein all of these elements or factors in the teaching flow is present in your video lesson. So all in all, at about 20 to 25 minutes ang length sa isa ka video lesson. So yun, that's the standard of DepEd. According to DepEd, it will not be more than 20 to 25 minutes because of certain studies and the attention span of the learners, no? So it will depend. So let's proceed now. So of course there are issues of copyright. So um, this matter is taken seriously by DepEd because we have laws to follow with in terms of copyright, no? So when we talk about copyright, well, it means that we don't just take materials from already published and owned by some authors or developers, and we'll just copy it and put it in our video. Like for example, like illustrations, even a simple illustration is subject for copyright. Uh, the use of music, that is also one thing that the DepEd is trying to avoid, to copy uh, existing uh, patented music. So as much as possible, we utilize an open source or uh, royalty-free materials that we can insert in our video lesson and that we can include in our video lesson. Okay, so if you want to know more about things that are subject for copyright, well, that could be in another venue, and you can search on that uh, uh, on the different informations available on the internet on the copyright issues regarding creating your own learning material, especially your video lessons. Okay, so when we talk about video lessons, we are going to have different materials that we can use. Now, it depends on where you're going to use your video lesson. If it is just for your classroom or your instructions, well, you can do it yourself, yung DIY style of creating video lessons, no, for for your classroom, for your students, for your learners, especially now that we are in an online distant learning modality. So video lesson is very much uh, useful nowadays. So if you plan to use video lessons and you're going to uh, probably use it in your classroom settings, then uh, it's doable naman. It's not impossible that you can do it by yourself if you just have the right equipment that you have. But if you plan that your video will go a long way, and your videos might be broadcast in a, wider scope, no? From wider uh, scope, because you will be broadcast from a different channels, and not even channels on television but also in social media. So might as well create a video that is quality. When we talk about quality videos, you need to, do certain tasks or procedures to follow, wherein you can produce quality video lessons that is suitable for broadcast. So kung magkuan kita nga gusto nato nga atong video makita nato pohon sa television, sa DepEd TV, and through validations and different QAs, quality assessment of your videos from the uh, from different people like supervisors, SDSS, regional directors, and DepEd TV itself. Well, there would come a time that we will see our video lesson if it passes through the quality assurance team of DepEd. So our focus now is uh, how to create a video lesson using our own materials, and at the same time uh, tackling also the the part wherein how to produce a big production, not actually big, but kanang a quality production of video lesson. Wow. Hindi naman tayo mga professional na mga production staff, because we are basically teachers. But eventually, uh, after what happened with the pandemic and all this stuff, uh, yung teacher naman is madaling nakaka-adapt. No? Yung skills ng teachers to transform into another uh, task is medyo madali. No, if we can see DepEd TV right now, the DepEd TV broadcasters are actually teachers before the pandemic, and then they shift to this kind of modality, and eventually, they're doing great job. And I think the DepEd TV modality setting will continue even if we are going to go to start our face-to-face learning. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, in video production, there are things that should consider. Now, actually, it is divided into three stages. Even if you're going to create your video lesson, your own video lesson, still you are going to undergo in this three stage of video production. Number one is pre-production, two, production, and number three, the post-production. So these are the three things that we are going to scrutinize and talk about this morning. And let's see uh, what we can do, uh, and hopefully we can find ways to create our own video materials. All right. So let's proceed first with the pre-production, number one stage. In pre-production, there are things that we should consider. In my case, uh, no, I focus on the equipment. This four things: the equipment, script, the storyboard, and the team. Okay, in pre-production, pre-production is definitely not a small task, but uh, in some other ways we can manage it if we only knew what to do. So first thing to consider is our equipment. Now, when we talk about equipment, first we need to know the kind of camera that we are using. Kasi visual yung video. So the higher quality of camera that you are using the higher quality your video output would be. So I'm not saying na kinahanglan yun magpalit kita og camera nga maayo aron makabuhat ang our uh, video lesson uh, nga quality, but uh, we can use our even our smartphones. Smartphone nowadays has a better quality uh, cameras that we can use. If your smartphone is available and it has a good quality camera, then you can use it for your own video lesson, no? In creating your video lesson. But if you want to have a quality output, well, it depends on the budget pod kung makapalit ba ta og kanang camera. So for me, uh, video camera is very important because this is the kuan yun kining pinaka focus nato karon gid ang kanang ang maayo nga video camera. So whether you're using a DSLR or a camcorder or smartphone, so try to check unsay available nga naa sa imo karon. No? So for bigger production, so, for example, you're planning to put up a team in your school, well, you have to invest in a good quality cameras. Next thing that you should consider is lighting. Okay, so lighting ang atong isa sa atong pinaka importante gihapon. Uh, in DIY videos, you can utilize naman yung mga ring lights, but if in a quality scale of lighting, you have to produce some studio lights na pwede na ito magamit. Okay. Next equipment will be stabilizer. When you say stabilizer, kailangan na ay tripod or na ay equipment to stabilize your camera's position. Dili siya kurog tan-awon. Okay, that's one thing na importante gihapon ang stabilization sa imong camera. If you have some equipment that you can use to stabilize your camera, much better, and you will produce a much more better quality video. Okay. All right. Next equipment is microphone. Okay. So audio is very important. In my case, ako, makaagwanta ko og tan-aw sa video nga miski dili siya quality, but if it is bad audio gani, dili na nako gusto na nako ibalhin na dayon kung nanaw kog television, basta gani daot ang sound, dili good quality, dili ko ganahan magtan-aw sa video. So perhaps some of us agrees that our ear, our hearing is the most sensitive part in our senses. And then our eyes, makaagwanta tag tanaw bisag karat ang video basta kay okay ang sound, pwede ra. Pero okay ang video, unya karat-karat or walay sound, dili good quality sound, we don't appreciate it. So for me, external microphones are very important. There are some, especially kaning mga mapalit na itong microphone. You can consider buying some lavalier microphone or boom mics na available, and you can use it even in your mobile phone. When you record your video in your mobile phone, these are also applicable, not only in DSLR cameras but also in mobile devices. Okay. Next is another chroma cloth. Kani, may tawag nila green screen. So if you want to change the background of your video, you need a chroma cloth or kanang tawag nila nga tela nga green. Now, why is it green? Anong green man gyud kinahanglan gamiton kung mag-shoot? Anong dili man pwede blue? Anong dili man pwede red? Anong green ra may pwede? Blue pwede ra, blue. Blue and green is acceptable. Pero other colors are not acceptable as to be used for chroma keying. Anong green ang usually ginagamit? Uh, for our teachers who are listening and watching right now, if you know some reasons why we use green cloth for chroma keying, please type down your answers in the chat box so we can see uh, your answers and your ideas. Why we always use uh, green colored cloth as our chroma keying background? Why not other colors? Green and blue is acceptable, and the rest of the colors are not acceptable. If you have any ideas, please type down your answers in the chat box so we can see if you have this idea, this explanation. If you can share your explanation why we always use green cloth for background if we plan to have a chroma key effect in our video lessons. Okay? So, so sige na lang. I have not seen any comments yet, but anyway, the reason for this that we use green chroma effect, green cloth for chroma is ito lang yung color na na hindi dominant ng sa skin color ng isang tao. So, pag imong itapad ang skin tone sa green cloth, uh, ang green na pigment is not visible. It's not visible sa screen. It's not visible sa skin tone. Ang skin tone kasi natin is more on yellows and red, colors mixture. Yung green hindi visible sa skin tone. So once you remove the background, siyempre ang mabilin lilitaw yung skin tone. So hindi siya ma-appeal og ka-chroma. So unlike other colors, no? Pag makroma nimo na usahay na ay part sa imong lawas na maputol or mawala because of the color of your skin tone if you're not going to use green. So that is why green color does not match, no, dili siya, wala siya kuan sa imong sa skin tone. That's why we use it as our chroma keying. And much better if you are going to use yung mga darker shades of green, no? Darker shades of green kasi may green naman na lighter na parang mo pupunta na siya sa shades of yellow. Medyo it's difficult. You're going to give the editor, your video editor, a hard time removing the background for it. No? So as much as possible, yung color na darker shade of green is advisable for chroma keying. So I've seen some comments here in the chat box, and you are all correct, no? So it's easy to remove. Okay, it's easy to remove daw and edit kasi it does not match the color of the skin tone of a person that is standing beside or using the green screen. All right. So that's the reason we use this kind of color. All right. Next equipment that to consider is if napay budget, No, this is very important. Can you we just uh, take for granted this kind of materials that we use for editing, for video production. No, yung clapper board, or you can have kanang whiteboard nga butangan nimo siya og mga kuan, butangan nimo siya og mga details on the scene. Improvise na lang siguro pwede ra, as long as when you edit a video, this is very helpful. You are going to give your video editor um, a peace of mind and free him from stress of editing videos if you have this in your video in taking your videos, no. So sometimes kay DIY raman, di na nato ni siya mapansin, but I tell you, if you do this, no, it's going to create it will minimize the time that you spend in editing videos if you have this every time that you take videos, no. So the clapper board. Next one, if your budget permits, no, you can have your teleprompter. Kung naagi budget, especially uh, di naman siya masyadong mahal, no. You can buy this naman online, and you can use your cell phone to connect, no, using an application from your cell phone, and then put it in a teleprompter. So when you are going to deliver your dialogue in front of the camera, you will not be having hard time uh, saying your dialogue compared to memorizing each line. But memorizing is a skill also, no. So uh, if you can memorize the script, well, that's excellent, that's brilliant. But uh, not memorizing your script is not an excuse for you not to shoot your video and delivering your dialogue correctly, no. So teleprompter will help you a lot, no. Next things to consider in pre-production is the script. Ito yung pinaka-importante. The script that you're going to use, and by creating a video lesson, there is the script is the thing that you should follow, no. uh, this is also very helpful for the director. If ever you are producing a video lesson together with the team, the director will also have a, a, a chance to follow the script, and then will have an idea, uh, because the script is the uh, when we write our script, and then after developing the script, this is what we're going to use to transform the script into a visual presentation, no, your video. So very important gid siya. The script uh, uh, will 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 be easier for a production team, a video production team, to follow if you have written the script in advance in pre-production. Okay, very important. Now, in writing your script, when we write our script, DepEd has a standard for it, no? Especially that we're going to use our video lessons, and our audience, our target audience, are children. So let's watch also our what I mean is, let's also be aware with this existing law, no, about how we write our script. So we will try to watch out for unnecessary uh, things that would violate this law, or perhaps be the reason why our video will not be suitable for broadcasting. So This law talks about how we can how we avoid things that words that can be used as dialogue, language, the scene that we are trying to project in the video. So in writing the script, we should also consider these things. All right. Now, aside from it, no, there is also the Broadcast Code of the Philippines 2007. These articles that are found in this uh, law also helps us and guide us in what or how to create a script that is suitable for young learners or the learners, students. All right. Now, in the actual content of the script, will depend on how creative the writer would be. So, ingon nila, kinanglan ang writer daghan og ideas, no? Sometimes daw kuno ang writer ang ilang kuan sa writer sometimes they would say that the script writer will bring out the marites. Uh, I know marites is a name that's already being used in negative connotation. But what I mean with marites means maximizing revolutionized ideas in teaching engaging stories. That's one thing that I was that captured my attention during the training in the seminars in writing script. So kailangan we create we will use our creativity, use your creativity. You can recall experiences, real life situations, no, and mo lagi na ingon nila kinanglan marites ka, but not marites na uh, yung negative connotation, no, but marites it when it comes to maximizing and revolutionize ideas in teaching engaging stories. All right, so now we learn another the positive connotation of a marites, especially in creating your script for video lessons. Okay, next is the storyboard. Now, this is optional, no? But some of production team looks for the storyboard, especially yung mga if it involves a team of production people. Kasi out from the script, ang yung storyboard will be the pre-visualization material. So that yung director or the crew or the member of the production team will have at least an idea on what and how to shoot or to get the videos, the video materials for the creation of your video lessons. So, it's optional naman yung storyboard. Okay? So, labyan na nato ng storyboard. Another in the pre-production is to consider if you want to work with a team, nako, medyo daghan kaayo gyud. If you look at kanang mga end credits sa mga movies or videos, episodes, daghan gyud kaayo ang involved. There are plenty of production people. But for me, pwede naman ta maka-shoot or produce og video lessons if you have this very important para sa ako kini sila ang pinaka-importante, no, yung broadcaster, scriptwriter, director of photography. The director of photography is also the cameraman, no, yung clapper or loader, at saka yung makeup artist. Siyempre, if you want to talk in front of the camera, you have to look good also. So teacher broadcaster is the very very important one because he or she is the one who's going to be the stand-upper. So siya yung magdi-deliver ng yung lesson. script writer is also very important for me because the teacher broadcaster will not be able to deliver the lesson that that she will have if the script is not available. Is the script writer did not do his job or her job. The director is somehow like the manager, no, oversees the production. Uh, and then the director of photography, also known as the cameraman, handles the equipment in terms of the camera movement, the camera settings, the clapper or the loader sa yung magdala sa clapper board. At the same time, pwede rin siyang maging isang operator ng teleprompter. Okay? So, makeup artist. Yung makeup artist naman, pwede hindi mo siyang maging costume or props in charge. No? So, you can improvise naman the roles of a team member. But these are depende na dayon sa inyong creativity and in innovativeness in assigning the role of each team in the production of a video. All right. Next, let's go to production proper. In the production proper, there are things that we could consider in the production in this stage, which includes the camera setup, the lighting setup, audio setup, and of course directing. Now, in camera settings, uh, if you are familiar of some of the basic and advanced camera controls, you have to familiarize your camera. Uh, Check your camera for different settings. But if you are not familiar with it, ayaw na lang hilabti kay mo na siya ang basic settings sa imong camera. But if you have some ideas, I don't want to be technical to this, pero ato lang siyang i-run through some certain terms, especially when handling a camera. Like for example, the aperture. No, the aperture is usually calibrated in what we call f stops. No, now what does this aperture do? The aperture is the opening of the lens that controls the amount of light coming into the camera. So if you think if the scene is you have less light, so you have to ito yung concept. Pag masyadong open yung aperture, no, pag mas maliit yung aperture, mas malaki yung butas ng lens ng camera and the brighter your image will be. And the higher the aperture, mas maliit yung butas ng lens ng camera. And the darker, since maliit yung butas, so less light will be captured by your camera. So ito naman is in basic photography, we have to learn. You have to learn this kind of technique, no? But in video lesson, this is also applicable. So, if you are not familiar with the aperture, basic settings of your cameras will do. Okay, but if you can adjust, if you have opportunity to adjust the apertures, much better. Okay. Next is ito yung example. Adjusting your apertures. It also produces a different depth of field sa imong camera. Okay, so the wider the aperture, the sharper your subject will be, no? And then if you want a shallow depth of field, adjusting your aperture, makita nimo ang diferensya. So this is just a basic thing in photography that is also applicable in video production. Now, if you have a smaller aperture, where the opening is very small, also of the lens, the f-stop has a greater value, then it will have a result of a greater depth of field, and the sharper the background. Okay, so And if you want the image where the subject is isolated, focus ang image, you have to keep your aperture at a low number. So your subject is the only thing in focus. Okay, so that is called the shallow depth of field. So this is very, very technical naman, no? So let's, kuan lang siguro. Ayaw lang mo ka-pressure because uh, in your camera naman, meron naman basic settings naman na pwede rin na ito magamit in taking videos. Okay, so next is it also affects the distance or the position of the camera. When you place the camera in relation to your subject, can also affect the depth of field. So the closer the camera to the subject, the more shallow the focus will be. The background will be blurry and out of focus. So, example, yan. So, ito naman yung focal length. Yung lens kasi meron yung mga length ginagamit if you are using a high-end cameras, DSLR. So, the length also has features that you can adjust to. So, lens are usually measured in millimeters. So these are just basics in photography. A short focal length will usually have a deeper depth of field. A longer focal length, like a telephoto lens, yung mga mahal kayo nga lens, mas mahal pa sa body sa camera, will often have more shallow depth of field. But basically, this is for advanced settings in photography. Okay, just to give you an idea and how to set your cameras. And also we consider in camera setting is the ISO. ISO will control how sensitive your camera to light. So the lower the ISO number, the darker the image. So for example, ito, lower ISO, darker image, higher ISO, sharper image, but it will contain a lot of noise. When you say noise, ito yung mga dots, mga spots na makita nimo if you compare the image in a higher ISO. So medyo noisy. Ang tawag nila nga noisy ang imong video kay naa siya mga splatters and dots na makita if it is a higher ISO. Okay, so again, these are advanced settings naman also. Next is shutter speed. If you're taking motion, if you want to capture motion video, adjusting the shutter speed will also help. So the shutter speed controls how long the light hits the camera sensor. The lower shutter speed, will induce a lot of motion blur. Higher shutter speed will decrease motion blur. So, depende na. This is applicable if you're capturing motion. Okay. So much for that. Next, ang requirement naman sa ato when we shoot our video is try to check your camera, which is aspect ratio, which is 16:9 or full HD 1080p or higher ang imo. 4K medyo okay kayo pero it will take kanang dako og space nga makaon sa imong computer, and then make it 24 to 30 frames FRS. Okay. Ayun. Now framing. So it's important also to take note of this when you capture your subject. Framing is where you are try to look at where your subject is actually in the screen, and you have to make sure that your subject is framed properly. If you're zoomed too far, kung nakasalayo, you will be tiny for the screen, and if you're zoomed too close, it might be uncomfortable and it is hard for the learners to stay focused. Makita niya ang imong dagway nga dako kaayo. For most video lesson, framing will be medium shot kita. medium shot, and can so that we can allow hand gestures or motion. It can be seen uh, in the video, and make sure that you have enough headroom or space above your head, no? So sa camera, the camera must be at the eye level set up of your subject. Make sure that your eyes will be the most focused part of your face. Kaya nga, tinawag nila na eyes is the window to the soul, because it's the usual focus of the people who are watching you. So eyes to eyes. So eye level ang atong camera positioning. Okay? Okay, so when we talk about headroom, yung eye level, it is 1/3 above. Yan ang yung pinakataas. Diha na position ang eye, ng 1/3 part of your entire screen. That is where you position the eye of your subject. Okay, so an estimated of 1/3 of that space is for the eyes. Now, composition. You're familiar of the rules of thirds in framing. The imaginary lines, the graphic lines when you position your subject. Okay, so pwede niya siya. In video lessons, we can use na ay lead room, a space enough for us to present some graphics, but we can also have our central framing in our video. No, medium shot ang atong usually gina-require for video lesson. Then next is camera movement sa video lessons, especially for stand-up broadcaster. Di naman masyadong meron mga camera movements, but it's also important that we are familiar with the different camera movements that we can that are available, no? Okay. Next, lighting setup. So, ito yung lighting setup na 5-point or 4-point lighting setup. Pero if you don't have available lights, no, you have to check first the natural room light. Kung room light, pwede ra pud. If there's a lot of natural light, then you can get away with adding less lighting. Kasi meron na ng natural light. If it's darker, if you're shooting in a darker room, then it's important to add more light to keep the subject lighted. Like sa ako, I'm here in a darker room. If I'm going to put out this light, no, it will produce less light, so medyo maraming shadow sa makikita sa imong video. So if you have to put up a lighting source, well, it will increase the quality of your video. So meron tayong mga light nga ginaplastar, na gitawag dito nga backlight, hair light, fill light, and key light. So if you can see the figure there, those are the placing, or that's how we place our lights in our video lesson. So this is all applicable if the lighting of the room is not good, no? If there is no source of natural light, then it's very important that we should have our lighting equipment to produce quality results of our video. Okay. Next is audio. Of course, very important na meron tayong mga microphone, mga lavalier microphone. Ang microphone, yung mga clip-on microphones, even if it is very small, as much as possible, we would like to hide the microphone out of sight from our learners. No, so let's make a way na we can hide our microphones. The microphone, the boom mic will not be showing in your video. Your lavalier microphone or your clip-on microphone is not showing on your t-shirt. And when we use our lavalier microphone, we avoid touching our shirts kasi madungog man na siya sa video. So if ever you are required to put your hand on your chest, do not uh, put your hand directly to the clothes you wear, especially if the microphone is pinned on the clothes that you wear, because it will produce sound, uh, unnecessary sound. So probably imo lang siyang ipahapaw diha, no? If ever you are going to have some gestures, and as much as possible, ang uban gani ginadikit na siya sa panit sa teacher broadcaster, so that if ever the teacher broadcaster will move, no, yung sound ng cloth, or the shirt or the dress that the broadcaster or the stand-upper will be wearing will also produce sound. So sahay ginapikit na siya sa panit sa teacher broadcaster. All right, so okay, in terms of directing, the director's focus is the consistency, uh, the acting is engaging, and the actor is attractive. So muna siya yung mga keywords na dapat numduman sa isa ka director. So including the eye contact, posture, movement, the angle, everything, including smiles, uh, mga spills, no? Sa isa ka teacher broadcaster. And when you're a teacher broadcaster also, try to, they always say try to relax, but it's different when you are in front of a camera talking to a camera. It's very different. Okay, so that's the director's job, to calm you down and try to relax you during takes. Now let's go now to the post-production. Ito na yung pinaka medyo the tougher climb, no, before the uphill. This is called, probably I would say, the uphill climb, the post-production, because it will involve editing, color grading, the effects, and rendering. So in post-production, it's important that we have our equipment, computer, no? Ano kaya yung computer na maganda? The things that you consider in editing, in using a computer, is the RAM or the memory. Kung meron ba siyang graphics card, yung processor niya, kusog ba, ano yun yung storage niya, because it will affect the editing process. The lower spec your computer will have, well, the longer time that you will spend editing. So as much as possible, our computer specs are standards, no? Sa sa mga bago nga mga release na computers naman, mga version nato karon sa atong mga computer, they are highly capable of doing video editing. So ang pinaka kuan siguro nako recommend, if you want to buy a computer, no, at least i5, no, and then siya 8 gig or higher na RAM memory, and then with graphics card for a smooth flow of editing, and then naka SSD, naka solid state drive siya para iwas sa mga mag-lag or crash ang imong computer, especially if you're using softwares like Adobe Premiere, no. It's very important also that your computer contains a software for editing. So you should be familiar with these softwares na pwede. Yung pinaka-gamit ng DepEd TV is Adobe Premiere, and this is also used in bigger television networks, video editing, the Adobe Premiere. Pero it's not free, no? So hindi siya free. You have to buy the license for it. Pinakamadali-dali nato is Filmora. We are now in version 11 of Filmora. Tapos na tayo sa 9, 10, ngayon 11 na yung version ng Filmora, but we can still download it and use it for free. We can also use free video editor called DaVinci Resolve. Pwede natin i-explore yung DaVinci Resolve. Pwede downloadable naman yung DaVinci Resolve, and it's free. And then daghan po siya og pwede mabuhat. Mura po siya og kanang Adobe Premiere. You can do your effects, your color grading in Adobe Premiere, the same as in DaVinci Resolve. And the only difference is DaVinci Resolve is free. So, meron naman tayong mga mobile, pwede sa mga mobile video editing softwares, KineMasters, CapCut. So, it's important that we should be familiarized with this. Okay? So, chroma keying, ini muna na-explain ako. This is the process wherein the video editor is going to remove the background, no, of the video's scene, no. So it will take some process depende on what of video editor you are using. Okay, another is color grading. Kasi yung video natin, yung raw video footage, hindi naman siya diretso maka-produce ng good color, quality color. So you have to run through color grading. So makita na ako na sa mga video sa kanang gina-present sa mga different schools, like nauso karon ng Galaw Pilipinas na mga videos. They have good shots but ang kulang lang is color grading. Kasi yung ang iba yung ginagamit nila is yung direct footage na videos ang ilang ginagamit, and I think they did not uh, run through a color grading wherein they are going to enrich the colors, no. They can use apply different lookup table colors, or that we call LUTs, to improve the quality of your videos. So it's important that we should also color grade our videos to really let the color show. Okay? Next is the graphics and the effects. Ito, whatever effects that is asked from you in the script, the video editor will do it in this editing period, no? Putting all the effects, the graphics, the text, sound, no, tanan dinhi mahitabo. Okay? Next is music. So in your adding music or musical score in your video is also important. And we make sure that our music does not uh, will not have any problems with copyright. So it could be a composition, your own composition, or a royalty free selection music that are available naman in different websites that you can download as for your musical score or music background. Right? Next is rendering. Ito yung pinaka last stage. So if all things are being placed already, now it is all ready for rendering. It will take time depending on the kind of video editor that you are using. So this is putting together your output. When you say rendering, this is great. You already start producing the finished output, finished product. All right. Okay. So in video creation, so these are just simple tips that you can contemplate on and consider this following materials in your video lesson. No? So one of which is you have to planning. Planning is very important. Pre-production is very important. Try to know your camera. Try to know your equipment. Familiarize your equipment. Basic knowledge in framing and composition. So what is pleasing to the eyes, no? Since we are satisfying the eye, the sense of sight here when it comes to creating video lessons. Then we have, in my case, I also want to prioritize a clear audio. So as much as possible, we have our microphone set properly so that we will not be having hard time editing background noise in our video. And then stabilization. Make sure that our videos are not shaky and videos are mounted in a stabilizer to have better quality results. Lighting also is very important. And as much as possible, keep your editing simple. Meaning to say, simpler effects, simpler uh, backgrounds, the simpler uh, choice of music, the better. No, yung mga transitions ng video, as much as possible, keep it simple. Hindi siya distractive sa learners. So, I guess that's about it. Uh, Thank you very much for your time and uh, for listening. I hope you have learned a lot. You have gathered some tips in creating your own learning material, especially uh, videos, no video lessons that will be able to aid your teaching and learning strategies not only in the classroom but in education in general. So thank you very much.
Ayan, thank you Sir Ryan for that very informative session. So as Sir Ryan has said, the use of video lessons is undeniably growing through the use of social media such as Facebook and YouTube. And because of that, the video lessons are very accessible to our students. So he has walked us through the process of creating video lessons, different strategies, including a basic photography crash course, which will surely be very helpful to our teachers, and what tools we could use during pre-production, production, and post-production. Now, for this part, I am opening the floor for some questions from our audience. So we have some time for 2 to 3 questions. So if you have any questions, don't be shy and comment it down in the comment section below. While waiting for questions from our teachers, if they have any, I could start with a question that I have while listening to Sir Ryan. So my question, sir, is for teachers who are not that tech savvy or who are not that comfortable in using technology, what advice can you give them if they wanted to create video lessons?
Okay, that's a good question. No, usually if you are going to make your own DIY video lesson, uh, the the technology is really available right now, especially if you have your own Android cell phone with you. You know, yung camera ng cellphone naman is can shoot a quality video, a high definition video. So you can use uh, that device, your own mobile phone, to shoot for your video, no? And it is also important that we understand the process of making a quality videos naman. It's not impossible. If you look at it, creating video involves a large production, large number of people, but it is not impossible for us teachers to create a quality video lesson even at home, no? By simply using the available materials that we have, you know, as long as it follows a good script, no, the script will be the following will be following the uh, learning competencies of the lesson that we are going to teach. Well, that's enough skill. That's already a good start for us, no? Even myself, I am not, shall I say, expert in creating or production, video production. My basically, what I do is teach, no, because I am a teacher. But it's not hard for us teachers to shift from another task, no. Multitasking is already in the blood of the teacher. So I believe, of the skills of the teachers and the innovativeness and the creativity and all these things, and it matters very much in creating our own innovative video lessons for our learners. So it's not impossible. uh, Materials that we can find home are the best way to start for our creative video lessons.
Ayan, thank you Sir Ryan for that answer. Ang very nice na nung sanabi ni Sir Ryan na we don't have to be an expert in video creating or as in photography, but as teachers, we have the skill set that we need in creating video lessons. So siguro we have some time for one last question for Sir Ryan. So the second question is, how do you incorporate video lessons in your teaching? So personally as a teacher, how are you able to use video lessons when you're teaching your subjects?
Thank you very much, Ma'am Bel, no? Now, in personally, uh, using video lesson really helped a lot, especially that we are in this, shall we say, new normal way of teaching, the distant learning modality. No, uh, videos can reach a lot of learners, especially if it is in a certain place wherein it is accessible to all. No, you can reach a lot of learners for your videos, and videos also using video lessons as your supplemental material in teaching is also very important. No, the students can, if you have readily available videos, students can review your lessons. No, they can always go back to the part wherein there is a certain point that they didn't understand or they didn't get the ideas. So that's also one way to use our video lessons, no. And in your teaching and learning process also. So gone are the days where the teacher always be the center of attention. Talk and talk and talk for hours, and then uh, that is already the old strategy. No, we can use our video lessons to supplement our instructions. No, video lessons really help a lot in delivering our instructions, and it is very important that we have to learn the skills in creating video lesson to be able for us to adopt the kind of learners, the 21st century learners that we have right now. So if we cannot move on, we cannot proceed, and we cannot somehow get along with the kind of learners that we have today if we will not adapt to the kind of technology that they have right now. So as a teacher, we have to take this challenge. I know it's not easy, but it is not possible. But thank you.
Thank you for that answer, Sir Ryan. So highlighting the accessibility of video lessons, that even if the teachers are not available through the video lessons, we could still reach and teach and even review our students in their lessons. So if there are no more questions, checking the chat, the comment box, there are no more questions. Let us give Sir Ryan another round of virtual applause. So thank you, Sir Ryan, for sharing your time and knowledge with us this
Yeah.
morning, despite I know your very busy schedule.
Thank
So
you,
for
Mambel.
sure, yes, thank you, sir. For sure, the teachers watching right now have learned a lot from you, and I am also looking forward to see the video lessons our teachers will create by applying the learnings that we have for this morning. So let me now present the certificate of recognition to Sir Ryan. So this certificate is presented to Ryan Z. Roa for sharing his time and expertise as resource speaker on the topic processes, strategies, and tools in creating video lessons during the KaaGABAY learning series on materials development, given this first day of April 2022 at Cagayan de Oro City Division, Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines. So signed by our school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry May Limbaca Reyes. So thank you so much, Sir Ryan.
Thank
I
you,
hope that
Mambel.
yes, sir. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a wonderful day ahead and keep safe always, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye.
So wow, sobrang informative ng session ni Sir Ryan for us this morning. As he said in his session, creating video lessons may be bittersweet. Sweet. But at first we may experience difficulties, but afterwards, just like in everything that we do, when we see the final product, we will feel the satisfaction and accomplishment in seeing our final outcome. And as teachers, we wear many hats besides being a teacher, and very flexible and adaptable tayo in transitioning from one role to another. No task is hard for us, kaya congratulations to all teachers at padayon po sa inyong lahat. So as someone also who used to do video lessons for my students when I was teaching, I am looking forward to try in creating video lessons again and apply what Sir Ryan has taught us this morning. And I hope kayo pod, mga teachers, were inspired and motivated in trying out our learnings for today. So creating video lessons may seem hard, but as mentioned, small progress is still progress, and as teachers, we have to continue learning, unlearning, and relearning as we shift and change together in this world. So, as we come to the end of our activity this morning, a few reminders. First, please don't forget to answer the attendance/evaluation form through the link shown on the screen. So, this will also be on the comment section down below. Okay, sending it right now. And lastly, don't forget to join us next Friday, April 8, 2022 for our last session of KaaGABAY learning series here in Deped Tayo, Cagayan de Oro City Facebook page. This now concludes our session for this morning. We hope to see you again for next week's session. And daghang salamat sa tanan for watching and joining us today. So wishing everyone a wonderful day ahead. Take care and happy Friday to all of you.